Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Wednesday, March 19th, and we are here trying to help you make more considered financial decisions. You know, sometimes I think that Mark and I are really like mentors or coaches, and, you know, we want to try to help you get the most out of whatever is going on in your financial life. So if you would like some assistance from two certified financial planners, I say it like that sort of in a snobby way, but listen, neither of us is ever giving that up. I'll keep paying that fee forever, Mark, just as long as I don't have to take the test again. If you've got a question, you need some assistance, you want some guidance, you want a reality check, give us a shout. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button. And if you'd like to join us on the program live, just check the box. Mark will do everything else. Hey, while you're on the website, all sorts of fun stuff, including there is a blog, there are videos, there are resources, and we've got a link so that you can join our subscription service. It's called Jill on Money Live. That is where you have access to quarterly live webinars, 4 of them. See, quarterly, we know how to do math. Bonus audio and video content, the entire back catalog of all those great webinars. And you get that all for $45 for the next 12 months. So check that out. If you join right now, you can go watch the Ed Slott webinar that we just did recently. And it's so much fun. And he's the best. But, you know, you'll be ready to queue it up next year. So we'll have Ed back because he is probably the most popular guest that we ever have. Today, we are lucky enough to talk to a couple, David and Rachel, who are on the line with us. They are from New England. Hello, David, and hello, Rachel. What brings you to us?
Well, we just retired last year, beginning of last year, and we're sort of going through that retirement transition, you know, are thinking about making some changes to our living conditions or locations and things, and thought it might be a good time to have a checkup with you in terms of where we stand.
Sounds great. David, how old are you?
I'm 61.
And Rachel, how old are you?
I'm 55.
Oh, look at you retiring early. Big shot. Do you guys have grown children or are you childless?
We do. We have 2 children. They are fully launched, other than we keep them on our cell phone plan.
What is with the cell phone plan? It's like the last bastion. It's like it moves beyond, you know, it's like, okay, health insurance, I get that to age 26. But, you know, my sister has same thing. It's like, how are all these people on your cell phone bill? Get them off. I was lecturing her because someone had a little identity theft and it infected the entire family. And I'm like, this is insane. How are your kids who are in their 30s still on your plan? So she kicked them off. Maybe you'll kick yours off.
That's a good example.
We'll approach that the next time we're together.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Tell us about how you're managing in your retirement. Do either of you have pensions?
We do not.
No pensions.
Okay. So have you saved a boatload of money?
I don't know about a boatload.
I will determine.
Yeah, you're the expert here.
Let's see if it's a boatload or if it's a sailboat full. You know, so what have you accumulated? Let's start with retirement assets. What have you accumulated?
So retirement accounts, the total is $2.7 million.
Mm-hmm. And is that all traditional or is that all Roth and traditional?
2.5 in traditional, the rest in Roth.
Okay. Let's keep going. What else have you accumulated?
In taxable accounts, brokerage, etc., $3.8 million.
It's starting to sound like a boatload, my man. Okay, $3.8 million in brokerage.
Relative. $3.8 million in brokerage and about $500 in cash.
Within that 3.8 or another?
Yes, within that.
Okay, so of which? And any cash accounts beyond that $500,000 from the 3.8 million?
No. The only thing is we have a donor advised fund that has about $200K in it.
So. Oh, great. I love that. Okay, perfect. So what about your house, your home? You say you're from New England. So how much is your house worth?
So the house in New England is about $1.2 million. And then we have another house also in the New England area worth another 1.2.
You got to have 2 houses in the same-ish area?
No, we're trying to fix that problem.
Okay.
So
are there mortgages on either of them?
No.
Okay. And how are we going to fix this? And where do you want to be? I mean, because you said maybe make a change. I presume that's geographically. So Where would you like your home base to be?
We're still in the process of determining that. And we were thinking that we would sell one of the homes, purchase a home in a warmer climate that also had some rental potential.
Why? Can't you just buy a house and like live in it and not have to deal with the rent?
Well,
What do you think?
We're discovering that it would be considerably more.
Okay, wait. So if you to buy your home in your warmer climate, how much would it cost? The house you want to be in.
I would say minimum 2 million, maybe up to 2.5.
Okay, are your kids in one of these areas?
No.
Oh, interesting. Are they married?
They are not. It'll be a bit before they settle into.
Maybe after maybe they start paying their own cell phone bill, they'll find an appropriate spouse. Maybe that's the key here. Okay. Is there a possibility? Just stay with me here. I'm not saying you can't do this, but I know the 2 states that you live in. I would like you to, if possible, what would be nice is for you to keep the house in the more tax favorable state. And you know which one that is also.
Yes.
Or keep some 6 months and 6.5 months in that state and then warmer climate for the other. Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, but do you have to keep the exact house you have? Could you downsize in that state?
It's not.
It's a
modestly sized house.
But it's in a good area, which is right across. Okay. I got you.
Place.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say we sell house 2 for $1.2 million. Now we've got to be able to think about your 2.5 million. The thing is about renting, and then someone's in your stuff. How much could you rent it for?
We wouldn't be there in the summer months. This new warm weather.
Exactly.
So it's pretty easy to do through. Obviously, we wouldn't do it ourselves. We wouldn't manage that. We would have a property manager handle that.
So maybe the first thing I should tell you is I don't want to rent it and she does. So it's not really.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to rent it either, but that's because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if you can do it without renting.
Yeah.
How about that?
Great.
Okay. So I know you've got these 2 homes right now, so the numbers are not going to be right. But how much are you spending right now?
All in, and this is absolutely everything, about $14,000 a month.
It's a nice number. Well done.
Feels like a lot to us. And compared to some of your other, I'm going to call them clients.
I love it. Let's call them listeners. Let's talk about community members. I'm never going to be in the client business ever again. Trust me. Ever.
It's high.
Well, they might not live in the same place. They don't own 2, like whatever. Who cares?
But
Who cares about them?
There are no mortgages.
There are no mortgages.
Right, no mortgages.
It's very impressive to have no mortgages and still spend to spend 170 grand a year is it's nicely done. You get a little crown, little tiaras, both of you. All right. So right now, how are you floating that from the brokerage account?
Yeah, basically from the cash. We also have deferred executive income that's coming in.
How much is that?
It's about $50,000 a year for the next 6 or 7 years.
Oh, that's good.
So there's that plus the cash that we have on hand plus taxable dividends that I sometimes sweep in.
But that 50 grand is a real number because now we're down to 10 grand a month, right?
Right.
So if you wait to claim Social Security until you're 70, do you know what those numbers are?
$5,000 a month.
Together?
For me.
Okay.
For her, it'll be 1,900, I think.
Yeah.
1,967, that full retirement age for her.
Okay, great. You know that you've got a retirement, as Ed Slott would call it, the retirement ticking time bomb in that $2.5 million, right? Because you have 200 in the Roth, you have $2.5 million in that account.
Yes.
So we know that that's our ticking time bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to try to get some of that money out of there. Either that or we're going to convert it. But Mark, what would you say to me, Jill, if I said to you, we're selling house number 2, we've got our 1.2 million, we're taking $1 million out of the brokerage account. And we're going to, because they're not going to want a mortgage at this point in their lives. And also I can just tell, like, constitutionally, that's going to hurt you guys, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, she says quickly. So we're going to take, 1.2 plus another $1 million. Then let's say, probably take another 1.2 because we got to pay some tax on that second house that we're selling. So we're going to take out of the 3.8 million. What happens, Mark, if we take 1.2 out for house purchase? Okay. Will they make it? Will they be able to generate the money they need? They want 14 grand a month net to them. They've got 50 grand in the executive comp right now. They have money in their retirement. Again, this $2.5 million that's floating in that retirement account. They'd have let's just call it 2.5 left in the brokerage account because you got a new house, you got to move, you got to have What do you think happens to their game plan under these circumstances, Mark?
Just because they've saved so much money, I actually think they're fine. As you like to say, quick back of the envelope, I think they would still generate. I'm not even counting the $50,000 a year. Just their investments probably generating around 13 grand a month.
So, and that's not the executive comp, and that's not the Social Security that's bound to kick in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can do this. Now, the question is, how do you feel about selling? It's very difficult to have these conversations because what happens is you guys look at these amounts and it gives you comfort, right? But you would have to be comfortable saying, like, okay, it was 3.8, it's $2.5 million, now, which doesn't even account for the fact that we have to pay some taxes getting out also.
Right. Which we also want to talk about, but well, it's not.
He doesn't sound thrilled.
This dude wants to stay in tax happy state.
Yeah, I'll let my wife speak for
Rachel,
herself. But
what do you think about that? Let's do it. Rachel, what do you
I don't
think
want to get in
about that?
trouble here, but it's not a comfortable thought.
It seems extravagant for us. That's
Don't forget
why.
label. Hold on. Slow down. Let's pull the label and the judgment off of it. Okay. I'm not talking about extravagant and it's what seems this or that, the other thing. I want to know how you're going to feel when $3.8 million brokerage statement turns into $2.5 million brokerage statement, even though the money is still in your balance sheet. It's just now, instead of in a brokerage account, it's in your warmer climate home. How are you going to feel about seeing that much lower number?
Concerned. And I mean, there are also some other considerations that are giving us pause. Living close to the coast, increases in flood insurance, wind, and all of those things. I think that it's going to possibly drive our monthly spend up, and that has me concerned.
Okay. How about what if we look at a different plan B? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. We sell second home in tax unfriendly state. We got our $1.2 million, but you pay some taxes, fine. Why don't we just use that to rent wherever you want to be and take the pressure off and see how it goes. And let's see what these kids are going to get married. Maybe they're going to have kids. You're not going to want to be necessarily locked into being in this one place, even though it's beautiful on the coast and all that. Why don't you just see how it goes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely a consideration we've discussed at length. Right now we're renting a place for a month to check out a particular area. We've done that before. So
how much is it costing to rent for a month?
$10,000.
And if you did it for longer, if you did let's say 5 months, would it be 10 times 5, or do you get?
You might get a little bit. You get a little help.
But I mean, listen, guys, if you did 50 grand for 5 months or 50 grand for 4 months and go to even a fancier place, to me, that's a no-brainer. I would do that all day long. I'd sell the one that I don't want. I'd sell that house. And for a few years, I would do 1 month this year. Let's do 3 months next year. Let's see how we like it. But sell that house. What's the downside of this? Let's think about it. Well, you're renting, so that always feels like you're throwing money out the window. But if you sold your second, that other home in the tax unfriendly state, and that is a very tax unfriendly state as far as I'm concerned, then I think what it does is it builds your liquidity. And what it also may do is get to your second question, because I think you're going to ask me about low basis stock in your brokerage account. Is that right?
One of my questions, yes.
So let's talk about that, because this might solve two problems. Mm-hmm. So what of the 3.8 million, you got a huge gain in some stocks? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, we've had.
Yes.
Yeah, and in particular one, which was a large amount of stock that I incurred when at a company I worked for a long time.
Okay. So what's that value of that one stock?
It's down to 800 now that we've chipped away at it. But
how nice.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. So of the 3.8, 800 is in one stock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you sold it, if you were to sell it, that would be like, that's scary, right?
Yeah. Plus I'm emotionally attached to it.
Okay. Could you be less emotionally attached to it?
Yes,
like not, could you be like 200 attached to it rather than 800?
Of course. We've chipped away at it quite a bit.
How so? How have you done that? You put it in the DAF?
We basically used that to feed the donor advised fund.
Yeah.
We gave it to other charity. We've given some to our kids. We've sold some. Mm-hmm. It's been a good stock.
Here's something that's kind of cool. Like if you think about it, if you have 3.8, and you can keep doing that with that stock, right? But if you then sold Second Home and had $1 million added, now you're at 4.8, right? Yeah. Now all of a sudden, the 800 grand doesn't feel quite as daunting, when it's part of an almost $5 million portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And now you're getting it down from like 20% to 15%. So you might be able to kind of trade around it a little bit, which would help me feel more comfortable that the position looks right. Yeah. Now, of course, the other thing that I would say is, you can pull some of the cash and the dividends out of the brokerage account, or maybe it's time for us to really start thinking about what we're doing with this $2.5 million account, which is your traditional retirement account, because that account's going to get going and really start to cause problems later on.
Right.
So
we did initiate our first conversion.
Yes.
Last year, 100 grand, and we have, the plan was to keep doing that.
Great. I think I would do that.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I love that. And I would even maybe do, what's your taxable income? Did you guys file taxes yet?
We did.
Okay. So what was that bottom right-hand corner? What was that number? Do you know?
The AGI is what you're asking? I think it was 220. I think we kept it down to 220.
All right. So 220, including your conversion, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So we got a ways to go. You're in the 24% bracket. Mm-hmm. I would be taking more money out.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that 100,000 a year is going to. I mean, you're going to earn way more than you're converting.
Right. So you could go up this year. You can go up to 394.6.
Right.
Okay. So if you go at 220 right now, right, and we could jam that up, you would really want to try to push that more. Okay. Either just pull it out, convert it. If you don't want to burn up your cash, again, another reason, if you sell that home, you'll have cash to burn up. But I imagine you're going to have to be converting 200 grand a year at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the 100,000 wasn't good, but I wanted to just start somewhere, and that 394 will keep us in the 24%, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it'll keep getting, adjusted for inflation, but you can definitely do another 100, 150. Do you work with a CPA or a tax preparer?
Yes.
We do, yeah.
So, just let them know, hey, we are going to continue. They can test it for you, right? At the end of the year, you're like, you know what? We're going to convert another slug of money. We're going to stay in the 24% bracket. That's it.
Yeah.
Just let them know to plan on it, right?
Okay.
And that, I think, is a great idea for you guys. They really do.
Yes.
And, then your money grows, and then, the single stock doesn't become such a huge position. You can kind of trade around it a little bit in your retirement accounts. You can get new money to work. You can use are you giving away the donor advised fund money these days? You are. Okay. So you're being conscious about that. And if you have a big year or something wild happens, or I don't know, the accountant's like, ooh, we floated up into a different tax bracket. You can use more of the stock to go into the DAF to help you to alleviate that tax situation, right?
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
I think you're in great shape. Rachel, I know that you're going to get divorced from this throuple right now, but I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of buying this house in the warmer climate right now. I'm just not.
Okay.
It feels like
she's not even a huge fan. You can hear it in her voice.
Yeah, I know, right? She's like the coast. I just I'm talking to you, looking at home insurance. Housing insurance premiums up by 11% from last year. And if you are on a coast, it's going to be like 25% every year. Every year it's going to go up. They're not going to lock you in year to year and be like, oh, yeah, it's the same as last year. It's going to keep rising. Yeah. So why take that risk? You can be there and enjoy yourself. A lot of people are moving to that warmer climate to be in a really tax-friendly state. You are in a tax-friendly state already.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we don't need that for the answer. Yeah.
No. If I thought that you could buy this house in the warmer climate and you had said to me like, all right, we're going to sell the second house. It's 1.2. We got to pay 1.8 for the next house. That would be one thing. But now I'm at 2.5 and 2.5 can turn into 3 fast. Yeah. So I'm like, And I hate the idea of renting because I think it's a pain in the neck. And who wants people in your stuff? You don't sound like people who want people in your stuff.
It's not my preference.
Not mine. Rachel's like, I'll sell anything. Rachel's about to Airbnb the primary residence. Yeah. So get used to it, David. You're going to have some company. You guys have your estate documents done?
We do. Yes.
Okay. What else do we need to know about you guys?
I think that was it. Those were our big questions.
You guys are in good shape. Just have fun, enjoy it. Don't have to buy something. It's all good. It really is. You are very fortunate. You've worked hard. You've saved a bunch of money. Go and enjoy it. But you don't have to go out and buy the second home to have the lifestyle that you're seeking. That's the thing that's important. And so let's go and have some fun. Mark, we got a new second home to visit. This is great in a warmer climate.
Anytime, come by.
Even if they're renters, it sounds like retirement's going pretty well for you guys. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And if you would like to think about buying that second home in a warmer climate, maybe you think David and Rachel are crazy and they should buy it. Maybe you want to buy something for yourself. Maybe not. Give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and of course, let us know if you'd be willing to come on the air. Hey, David and Rachel, make sure that you're leeching children who still are on your cell phone. They'll listen to Money Watch on the weekends because that's our other podcast for youngsters, oldsters, anyone who needs to kind of go back to basics. We have the Money Watch podcast. It's releasing every Saturday and Sunday, which is a lot of fun. You can subscribe to both podcasts on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. And of course, do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.